As you will reduce the size of material, its activity, its you can say the reactivity that enhances multifold. So zeta potential is uh, essential to measure at this stage. Uh, you will see the applications of particle size analysis and particle size. How can we enhance the functionality of different materials in different fields? So, what are those fields? Pharmaceutics, dyes and chemicals, building materials, especially the cement and plaster of Paris, aerosol size measurement in environment science, and medical textiles, where we have to measure the pore size, blood means RBC cells, and number of particles are required to measure in medical textile. Then coatings, what kind of coating you want to apply, and what kind of pigments you want to add in that suspension. Then food and beverages. These are few fields. I'm not saying these are the all fields where only particle size analysis is applicable. These are the major fields. Now, how will you quantify the size of a very tiny particle? If you will see the big particles, then you can imagine this is cube, this is a sphere, or whatever it is shape. But in case of very small particles, it is very difficult to keep that particle in a, particular nomenclature. That's why what happens there, we equalize, means like you can say the this sphere of identical volume. What is the volume of this particle? We will try to compare this volume with the identical volume. Means this volume will convert to the volume of a sphere. So if you will convert this volume to the volume of a sphere, then you will have a dimension, that is the radius. So this is one example. Similarly, you can convert it like a sphere of identical weight. So from that identical weight, then you can determine the diameter, which is called as dW. If you will convert it a sphere of identical minimum length, then you will get the diameter, which is called as d minimum. And the sphere passing same sieve aperture, sieve, you know, sieve, chalni. So if you are passing these particles through that sieve, that diameter will called as the DC. D maximum means maximum length, sphere of identical maximum length, that is D max. Sphere, sphere of identical surface area, that is called as DS. And sphere of identical sedimentation rate, that is represented by D sed. Now, if you have very fine particle, you have a technique to measure the particle size, but how will you represent? How, which one is the particle size? Suppose this is a particle, in the same material, you will have another particle that will differ from this particle, then another particle. So ultimately, means size, whatever you come on here on this previous picture, whatever dimension you selected, suppose you selected this d minimum, the sphere of identical minimum length, then this will come on x-axis, and then frequency will come on y-axis. In this way, you will able to represent the median, mode, and mean. And when you will see the distribution, more and less, this is again following the normal distribution curve. So on a particular normal distribution curve, generally this median that will come in left side of mode, and mean will come on right side of this mode. Now shape detection. How will you detect the shape? What is the exact shape of that particle? Most of the particle size analyzers provide particle size in one dimension and generally mentioned on y-axis, and quantify the particles on x-axis in two-dimensional representation system. And that can be reversed also. Measurement of particle volume and convert it into equivalent sphere volume, that is also possible. Here in this picture, you can see uh, different dimensions like maximum dimension. means in this particular right one picture, maximum dimension. In this dimension, in this picture, the maximum dimension means this is the maximum length. There will not be any other length which will be greater than this length. That's why it is called as the maximum length. Then sieve dimension. What does it mean by sieve dimension? There will be a mass. If this particle will come on that mass, and if you will find the hole of this diameter, then it will pass from that hole. That's why it is sieve dimension. Then minimum dimension means minimum dimension which can be a plot on this particle shape. Just like maximum dimension, minimum dimension is also. Now we come on the diameter. How we quantify or how can we give a proper nomenclature to these diameters? First one is you can see here the maximum one, which you are seeing here, that is represented by Ferret's diameter. That is called as Ferret's diameter. And there is another diameter which is across that one. Means where you have the minimum dimension there across that side, the diameter which is called as the Martin's diameter. Okay, so these are two major diameters which are classified or accepted by the whole scientific community. Now you can see the modern particle size measurement techniques. These are some techniques which I searched through literature. The filter velocity meter, morphological imaging system, laser diffraction system, resonant mass measurement system, nanoparticle tracking, dynamic light scattering, and Taylor dispersion analysis. These techniques are named by different scientists in slightly other ways also. Those names you will find just ahead of this slide. Particle size measurement techniques mean what is the potential of these techniques, means what is the least count and what is the range of these techniques. You can start from morphological imaging system. This technique is able to measure from 1 micron to 3 mm. Second one is spatial filter viscometry. The range of this technique is 50 micron to 5 millimeter. Then laser diffraction. This technique has a wide range of measurement potential, 10 nanometer to 3.5 millimeter. Then resonant mass measurement, 50 nanometer to 5 micron. Nanoparticle tracking. This is also very promising technique nowadays. And by using this technique, you can measure 30 nanometer to 1 micron. Then dynamic light scattering. This is better one than this nanoparticle tracking. And by this technique, we can measure 1 nanometer to 1 micron. So we have this HORIBA particle size analyzer in our laboratory. And this instrument also works on the principle of dynamic light scattering. Then we have the Taylor dispersion system, which works on the principle of that has a different principle. I will come on that point. And the potential of this technique is 0.2 nanometer to 20 nanometer. So here you can see this Taylor dispersion analysis has the because the maximum potential. Maximum potential means this technique can measure the particle which have a diameter of 0.2 nanometer. Techniques to measure the particle size. This is one. This is the, you can say, the crude technique or conventional technique like sieving technique. So we have different methods, different sieves of reducing holes, reducing size. Means first have the maximum hole size is 10 millimeter, then 1 millimeter, then 500 micron, then 250 micron, and then 125 micron. So in this way, you can, in first sieve, you will filter out those particles which have size more than 10 mm or 1 centimeter. Then second one will filter out more than 1 mm. In this way, you can segregate the particles of various sizes. Spatial filter velocimetry. Particles transported vertically through the transverse laser beam. Then linear fiber array photodetector is used to cap at the axial end of the laser beam. The spatial sensor is also integrated to sense and capture the shadow movement of the particles. To capture the shadow movement, particle is moving, light source is there. If light source is there and objective is there, then what will happen? A shadow will form, and the detector will capture that shadow. So application of a fixed frequency pulse signal mixing measurement, the particle movement time measurements that will take place means how the particle is moving and how much time it is consuming to move from one place to another place. That's why it is called as the velocimetry. The particle chord length and particle size measured with a measurable movement speed and elapsed time estimation is performed by this technique. So this you can see here, special filter velocimetry. There is an objective lens which is here, and a special filter is there, and the light source, and then photo detector. So there is a particle distribution is there, light is coming there, the shadow will come on objective lens, and then by focusing that lens, we will detect or we will take the image of those particles by means of this photo detector at particular focus length. Then this is a morphological imaging system in which high-speed video cameras are used to capture the image, appearance, length, width, and circularity of those particles. Then software is used to convert these dimension into diameter equivalent. Whatever diameter equivalent, weight or mass or volume or minimum length, maximum length, which we have discussed already. Only bright and dark surfaces of particles are captured. Now this is another technique which is called as laser diffraction. To calculate the average particle size by macroscopic view of particle, this type of technique is used. My scattering concept states that various diffraction patterns are generated when laser beam irradiated a group of particles varying in size. You know, this Rayleigh my scattering I have discussed when I was talking about this NMR. So I hope everybody know about this Rayleigh my scattering. Radius of particle and laser light wavelength becomes very close to each other, and maximum part of laser light get diffracted and pattern of laser light spot looks more focused and clear. Conversely, as laser light beam irradiated the small size particle, then laser light wavelength and most of the laser light travels without diffraction, and the laser spot pattern look more diffuse and fuzzy. A high number of photodetectors are selected to be used in various laser particle size analyzers to cover the angular range. Means when dispersed in different direction, then we have to put different number of detectors to capture all the images of all particles. So at angular range means 170 you have to cover on circumference of a circuit. Scattered light of laser and angle and intensity of scattered light is estimated by means of a image sensor. This setup provides the particle size distribution map also. This you can see here. This is the setup for laser diffraction. As you are diffracting the particle shadow by means of laser light, and because the particles are distributed in a particular range, so when the light ray will incident on those particles, that will differ in different angles. So we have to capture the image of those particles by distributed photodetectors, which are distributed at 1 degree to 170 on the R. Again, this is the concept of Mie scattering. You know this is also called as the Fraunhofer diffraction. If there is a particles there or particle light wave or the electromagnetic light which is traveling or moving in forward direction, if any particle is found there, then the light wave that will incident on that particle, and in boundary condition at, or you can say that boundary point, they will reflect in different way. So some refraction will also take place, some absorption may take place, and then reflection will take place. So the reflection will take place and the different angle will form, means different uh, uh, parts of this light that will go in different direction at angle theta. That's why it is mentioned as theta n. So theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, like that. So ultimately we can represent it by theta n. So sine theta n equal to n lambda upon x. So theta is diffraction angle inversely proportional to particle size. So as the size will increase, this diffraction angle will decrease. Particle size is x. N is the number of diffraction angle, and lambda is the light wavelength. The nanoparticle tracking analysis. This is one very promising technique which is popular, particularly in cement and plaster of Paris industry. The visualization and analyzing particles in liquids that relates the rate of Brownian motion to particle size. This is the key point for this technique, nanoparticle tracking analysis. The visualization of particle takes place, visualization and analysis, when the particle moves in a liquid, and when particles remains in liquid, they makes the Brownian motion, and this Brownian motion is captured. The rate of movement is related only to the viscosity and temperature of the liquid, because as you will enhance the temperature, viscosity will reduce. As the viscosity, you will play with the viscosity, the Brownian motion will also affect. But the particle density and refractive index of that liquid, that will not influence the size. So Stokes-Einstein kinetic principle is the base for this technique. Stokes-Einstein equation is presented, that is written here. In this technique, a laser light-based video imaging system is integrated with this setup, and high-speed particle tracking system is assisted to this setup to capture the image at a microscopic level. The Stokes-Einstein kinetic principle says that small particle move faster than large particle. This will be proved by this equation also. The profile of small particle with the diameter of approximately 10 to 100 nanometer in liquid suspension that will be captured. The value of mobility and medium viscosity are used in the Stokes-Einstein equation to estimate the radius of the particle. Now, how is it possible? So dt is the diffusion constant. There is a product of diffusion coefficient d and time t. This is the product of diffusion constant with time t. And this kb, that is a display style, or that you can say this is Boltzmann constant, and t is the absolute temperature. Eta is the viscosity, d is the diameter of spherical particle. So the Stokes-Einstein equation, that will be x by whole square upon 4 dt kv multiplied by t upon 3 pi eta d multiplied by small t. So this is the actual setup for nanoparticle tracking analysis. There is a laser source, then laser source will reflect by means of a mirror, which is mounted at 45-degree angle. So that will just bend this laser beam at 90 degree. So when it will reach in a chamber where the particle they are making the Brownian motion in a particular liquid, the image of those particles that will capture by means of a very high speed or a powerful video camera, and then the particle image that will be analyzed. Now you can ask question, why these particles are placed in the liquid? Because if you will not place these particles in a liquid, then particle will aggregate, because small particle has very high reactivity. And when you will place those particles in a liquid and you will make the suspension, those particles will make the Brownian motion, and you can capture the image of individual particle in that situation. This is another way. How can you capture the image of different particles? Because different particles have different reactivity, and ultimately, again, you will get the normal distribution curve. Now, this is another technique which is called as dynamic light scattering, DLS. Particles dispersed in a solution don't rest in a stationary condition, but act in Brownian motion continuously. I was saying like that. Photosensors are also integrated with this setup to detect the scattered laser light irradiated by laser beam on the particles. Diffusion coefficient of the particle is calculated by quantifying the intensity of scattered light. All those things we have discussed when we were discussing NMR, when we were discussing Raman. So I hope that basics of light theory that has been clear to all students. So finally, the estimated values are used in Stokes-Einstein equation to calculate the particle size. Method is suitable to measure the particle having diameter equivalent to 10 nanometer to 11 microns. So you can say the wide range is available here. Results of DLS technique remains very close to Z average to represent the intensity weighted average. What does it mean by this statement? Z average means Z average molecular weight. When you will estimate the particle size, mass, its volume, at the same time you can estimate, not calculate, because whatever results will come, they will be very close to Z average molecular weight, but that will not be exact Z average molecular weight of the material. So polydispersity is also calculated by this technique. Polydispersity is basically ratio between W average means weight average molecular weight divided by number average molecular weight. So for a homogeneously distributed particle size or molecular chain size, the polydispersity remains 1. But in reality, there's not any molecule which will give the polydispersity 1. So as the polydispersity will go away from 1, the size distribution means variation will enhance in size. The concept of particle size analyzer is based on Brownian motion of particle and density of scattered light. The quick intensity changes in the scattered light is captured and analyzed particle size on basis of Stokes-Einstein theory. If there is quick change in scattered light intensity, it is indicating that there is a too much variation in particle size. That's why you are saying you are getting very quick change in scattered light intensity. DLS is widely accepted technique due to its precise repeatability and need of very small content of specimen. This you can see here. There is a chamber where you have suspended your particles in a liquid. Then there is a laser light source. With the help of lens, you polarize that light and you allowed only a monochromatic light to come up to your sample, and whatever scattering that will take place by this laser light, as the laser light will incident on those particles, the scattered light will detect by means of these photon detector, and photon detector are placed at different places at different angles. So we are not interested only to capture at one angle, we are interested to capture at various angles. Okay, we are not interested here to count the number, how many particles are there. This is not our interest. Our interest is what is the size of those particles and what is the frequency of different particles which are coming in the different diameter range. In this way, the diffusion coefficient and particle size information that will come through this correlator, and that information will send to the computer, and processor will process these information in the form of graph and whatever form you want with the help of appropriate software. Now here you can make some statistical analysis of these results. So DLS, this is a dynamic light scattering, and NTA is this nano tracking analysis. This direct conversion of acquired tracks, this is DC. Finite track length adjustment, that is represented by or abbreviated as FTLA, and interactive method or interactive, this is mentioned as IM or IC. Sorry, here you can see the red one is DLS. What is the difference between DLS and this NTA IC or NTA FLTA? When you will compare with this nano tracking analysis, what is the difference? Difference is that in case of DLS, we are getting much more variation. When you will comparing with green one and blue one, green is representing the NTA FLTA and blue is representing NTA IC, nano tracking analysis. So variation is too high. Variation is too high in case of DLS, dynamic light scattering technique. Now Taylor dispersion analysis. This is in previous slide I have already mentioned. This is very promising technique. Most advanced technique of particle size measurement, it can measure less than 10 nanometer and even up to 0.1 nanometer also, which is generally found in drug carrier in biomedical sciences. Because when we talk about the controlled delivery or very fine drug carriers, so by means of nano capsules, you can place that drug inside those capsules, and by means of the size of the drug, that drug will come out through those capsules in controlled way. So in this way, you can design or engineer a controlled drug delivery system. The sample solution is injected into the microcapillaries and sample starts to move. The cross-section of capillary is measured continuously by UV spectroscopy. The UV spectrophotometer estimated the absorbance of UV light by sample particles passes through the capillary cross-section at a fixed frequency. Absorption versus time graph, that is called as the Taylorogram, is obtained by means of this technique. A Weyl curve is obtained by this graph, which exhibits the change of concentration of particle through the cross-section. The diffusion coefficient of kinetic theory is obtained by analysis of bits of this curve. Stokes-Einstein equation is used to calculate the particle radius. So this is the view. This is a tube. Inside that tube, your particle are suspended in a liquid. There is a laser source that will incident on the cross section of this tube, and whatever particles will come in front of that one, this laser light will track the position as well as the size of those particles, and the image will capture on the opposite side of this tube, and then the image processing will take place, and ultimately you will get the size distribution, and all these things. So this you can see here also. This is the capillary loop. In that capillary loop, you will flow your material. This is the inlet, this is the outlet. There is a laser source where the image will take place, and then by means of detector, the image will capture, and then absorbance absorbance value as a function of time, that will come first, and then these values will transform into particle size as a function of frequency also. Size and frequency, both value will get on a curve. So this you can see here. The non-evasive backscatter, this is another technique, but not as popular as the previous techniques. This is non-evasive NIBS technology, is the combination of backscatter detection and variable measuring position. So you can see this is a combination of techniques or fusion of techniques. This technique enhances the analysis power of particle size analyzer to scan the specimen of different concentration in comparison of conventional dynamic light scattering technique. This is non-evasive backscattering, NIBS technique, in which we use different cuvettes. You know, the cuvettes is very small vessel in which we keep the liquid in which we have suspended rubber particles. So the laser source will be there. There will be a focus lens, then it will come up to the cuvette, and then the light scattering will take place. The scattered light will detect by means of a detector. Laser diffraction technique, I have already mentioned and described it, so there is no need to comment on it. This is the pictorial representation of laser diffraction. There will be a laser source Then there will be an attenuator. Attenuator, no. This is the polarizer and analyzer. So polarizer, the function of polarizer is to polarize the light, means that will filter out the other component of laser, and that will pass through the laser beam, which have its vibration only in one direction. And when it will come on the qubit or cell where you have your sample, and as per the size of particles, the this um, diffraction of light will take place, and then there will be different detectors which are placed at different angles, particularly a detector which is placed at 173-degree angle. That will be very useful, and that will capture the images, and that those images will come up to this amplifier, and that will, and the amplifier will amplify those signals, and then signal will process by means of software, and then you will get the final results. So this 173 that will vary in some other instrument. Suppose another manufacturer, but generally it remains 171 to 174 in between this range. Not means we will not use the 11-degree like that. In-flight particle size and shape analysis. Opted the 3 picos ICCD camera for in-flight particle shape and size analysis and particle shape measurement by using the shape imaging technique. The laser beam is arranged in such a way that the beam splitter and the superimposition of two beams at the focal plane of microscope that must be aligned. The 4 picos IICD camera employs to capture the images triggered by a diode array which detects a particle entering the measuring volume. The experimental setup included a material at molten or semi-molten state, which is propelled using a heat source like plasma jet to generate a surface structure on a typical substrate. This technique of measurement in flight particle is quite complex because numerous process parameters get intermingled each other to make this process quite complex. This is the pictorial representation where you can represent here. There will be a computer, there will be a transmitter, this is a source, then there will be a polarizer. These are different lenses, and then beam splitter. This is the mirror that will deflect the mirror, and this is the source where you are allowing your particles to come in the contact of this beam in flight mode. Means you are continuously pouring your particles, or you are blowing your particle like that. So the particle shape and size that will capture by means of this light source, and then it will come up to the long distance microscope. The image will capture by means of this microscope. Then diode array and the processing of that image will take place by means of IICD camera, and then image data will come to the computer, and you will get the result. So when you will come at a nanometer level, you will find the laser source is used in maximum number of techniques because the benefits of laser are utilized here. This is another picture where you can see there is a vacuum pump. There is a silver AG electrode which is placed here to measure the potential difference, and there is a column, and there is a beaker, a magnetic stir also. So whatever particle or material you want to study the particle size, you can stick this side, this beaker, and this tube that will capture the image, and then this image that will go to the processor, and you will measure the particle size. But the beauty of this technique is that at the time of measurement, you can change the pH also. You can change the speed of the its rotation. So effect of these parameters that can be simultaneously measured by means of this technique. Particle size image technique that I have discussed. Sorry. This feature enhances the utility. This is a feature. This is not the separate technique. This feature enhances the utility of instrument on manifold. Shape is detected inside the plasma jet. Microscopic images of particle shape takes place These broken laser beams are superimposed in focal plane of long distance microscope. Two different sets are produced by a stream of passing particle. Suppose one is red and then another is blue or green or yellow, whatever it is. The separation of these sets is a measurement of distance of particles to the focal plane of microscope. This way, the particle shape and size can be directly determined on the area and contour of the sets that can be captured. So this is a setup which you can see here. The multi-angle dynamic light scattering technique, this is also used for high resolution angle independent size measurement. And this technique gives more in-depth information related to particle size distribution. It consists of disposable capillary sizing cell. This cell offers non-destructive low volume, means less than 3 microliter is sufficient for analysis. And the upper size range is 10 micro. So this will measure maximum up to 10 micro. Means minimum that is permissible, but maximum is 10 micro. This technique is equipped with the electrophoretic light scattering ELS to measure the zeta potential of particle and molecules. This system consists optical filter wheel, which offer a fluorescence filter along with both vertical and horizontal polarizers, which extends its analytical potential. This technique is capable to measure the particle size of highly concentrated samples also. And this technique measures the zeta potential in high conductivity media. This you can see here. This is multi-angle dynamic light scattering setup. Scattered light means you have a laser source, then you have a cuvette for sample. The scattered light will come, that will reflect out, and then photon counting device is there. So avalanche type diodes are used for that one, and then the image will image and data that will process by means of a computer and software. This is a setup for zeta size analyzer, or this is called as a zeta sizer. So Malvern, this is very big name in the field of particle size analyzer. The Malvern equipments, they operate this technique also. So that can be represented here in better ways. Suppose there is a sample cell where you have to place your sample, then you have a laser source, then attenuator, and attenuator is allowed to pass the monochromatic light when it will incident. Then you have a detector which is placed at 73 degree, then a correlator, and then another detector which is capturing the images at 90 degree. So both information or images, they will combine at a correlator, and after this correlation the data that will go to the system, and you will get the particle size, zeta potential, particle size distribution, all parameters. These are the major manufacturers of particle size analyzers like Malvern Panalytical, Horiba, Beckman Coulter, Microtech, Lab Compare, Anton Par, SmartJu, and Sympatet. So now at conclusion part, particle size analysis gained importance due to emergence of nanotechnology, because n number of fields are present in our life where people are working on the basis of nanotechnology. At nano level, material properties change frequently in terms of toxicity, color, reactivity. That's why the size measurement is essential. Without particle size measurement, we can't go ahead to develop any kind of product at nano level. So particle size analyzer manufacturers are adding different features in their equipments to make it more user-friendly, quick, and accurate. So this is all about the particle size analyzer, and this is, I think, very important uh, technique